We shall commence this module by discussing about the importance of energy. All over the world, energy has been proclaimed as one of the most crucial ingredients of economic growth and human development. A robust two-way relationship exists between economic development and energy consumption. At one point, economic growth with its competitiveness at the global level is dependent upon whether cost-effective and environmentally favorable energy sources are available. And at the other point, economic developmental level has been noted to be contingent upon the demand of energy. Energy is one of the dominant drivers of a growing economy like India and is an essential building block of economic development. In order to keep up with the demands of a developing nation, rapid growth has been witnessed by energy sector of India. Spaces like the resource exploration and exploitation, capacity additions and energy sector reforms have undergone revolution. However, augmenting resources and energy supply growth have not been at par to fulfill the increasing demands exerted by overshooting population, urbanization which is growing rapidly and growing economy. Hence, India falls to serious shortfalls in energy, relying heavily on imports. After studying this module, you shall be able to know the importance of energy sources in development, identify the sources of energy in India, understand the energy crisis in India, know about the government measures on energy crisis. Let us first discuss the sources of energy in India. We use energy for household use, agriculture, production of industrial goods and transport. Modern agriculture uses chemical fertilizers which require large amounts of energy during their manufacture. Industry utilizes energy to power manufacturing units and the urban complexes that support it. Energy demanding roads and railway lines are built to transport products from place to place and to reach raw materials in mines and forest. Chemical energy contained in chemical compounds is released when they are fragmented by animals in the presence of oxygen. In India, people are needed for doing work in agricultural systems and domestic animals used to pull carts and plows. Electrical energy produced in several ways: power transport, artificial lighting, agriculture and industry. This comes from hydel power based on the water cycle, carried by the energy of the sun supporting evaporation, or from thermal power stations powered by fossil fuels. Nuclear energy is held in atom's nucleus and is now harnessed to develop electrical energy. Three main types of energy exist: those categorized as non-renewable, those said to be renewable, and nuclear energy, using small quantities of raw material, uranium, that supplies are to all effect limitless. Next is non-renewable energy sources. These comprises of hydrocarbon fuels which are based on minerals like coal, oil gas and natural gas, which evolved from ancient prehistoric forest. These are called fossil fuels because they are formed after plant life is fossilized. At the present extraction rate, there is enough coal for a long time to come. Oil and gas resources, however, are likely to be used up within the next 50 years. When these fuels are burned, they produce waste products which are discharged into the atmosphere as gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxides of sulfur and carbon monoxide, causing air pollution. Oil. At present, India's oil reserve used lie off the coast of Mumbai and in Assam. Majority of our natural gas is related to oil, and because there is no distribution system, it is just burnt off. This weighs nearly 40% of available gas. Now we shall discuss the renewable energy. Renewable energy systems utilize resources which are on a constant pace, gets replaced and create less polluting usually. The main sources of renewable energy includes hydropower, solar, wind and geothermal energy from the heat inside the earth. Renewable energy from burning trees and even garbage as fuel and processing other plants into biofuels. Next is hydroelectric power. This uses water flowing down a natural gradient to turn turbines to generate electricity known as hydroelectric power by constructing dams across rivers. Between 1950 and 1970, hydropower generation worldwide increased 7 times. The life of hydropower plants is usually long. The energy source, which is renewable in nature, very low operating and maintenance cost, and absent inflationary pressures as in fossil fuels are some of its advantages. Next is solar energy. In 1 hour, the sun pours as much energy onto the earth as we use in a whole year. If it were possible to tackle this colossal quantum of energy, people would require no other energy use. Multiple methods have been developed of collecting energy for heating water and generating electricity. Modern housing that uses air conditioning and or heating are extremely energy dependent. In solar heated buildings on the south side of the structure, sun spaces are being built which act as large heat absorbers. In energy efficient architecture, the sun, water and wind are used to heat a building when the weather is cold and to cool it in summer. The heat produced by the sun can also be used for cooking using solar cookers. India has the world's largest solar cooker program and an estimated 2 lakh families that use solar cookers. Other solar powered devices. Solar desalination systems for converting saline or brackish water into pure distilled water have been developed. In future, they should become important alternatives for man's future economic growth in areas where fresh water is not available. Next is photovoltaic energy. The solar technology which has the greatest potential for use throughout the world is that of solar photovoltaic cells, which directly produce electricity from sunlight using photovoltaic PV, also called solar cells. PV cells are commonly used today in calculators and watches. Provision of power to electric lights, satellites and small electrical appliances such as radios and for water pumping, highway lighting, weather stations and other electrical systems located away from power lines. PV systems are being built by some electric utility companies into their network of power supply. PV cells are environmentally favorable, that is, they do not discharge pollutants or any other toxic material to the air or water. No radioactive substance is discharged and no catastrophic accidents. Next is biomass energy. When a log is burnt, we are using biomass energy. For their growth, plants and trees are dependent upon sunlight. Biomass energy is a kind of stored solar energy. The main source of biomass energy is wood. We use agricultural waste, sugarcane waste and other farm byproducts to generate energy. There are 3 ways to use biomass. It can be burned to produce electricity and heat, changed to a gas-like fuel like methane, or to a liquid fuel. Liquid fuels, also known as biofuels, contain 2 forms of alcohol, ethanol and methanol. Because biomass can be converted directly to liquid fuel, but someday in future our fuel needs for cars, trucks, buses, airplanes, trains would be met with diesel fuel replaced by biodiesel made up of vegetable oils. Organic municipal solid waste includes paper, food waste and other organic non-fossil fuel derived materials such as textiles, natural rubber and leather that are found in the waste of urban areas. Next, we will understand nuclear power. In 1938, nuclear fission was demonstrated by two German scientists, Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann. They found they could split up the nucleus of a uranium atom by bombarding it with neutrons. As the split of neutrons, some of the mass was converted to energy. The nuclear power industry, however, was born in the late 1950s. The first large-scale nuclear power plant in the world became operational in 1957 in Pennsylvania, US. Dr. Homi Bhabha was the father of nuclear power development in India. The Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai studies and develops modern nuclear technology. India has 10 nuclear reactors at 5 nuclear power stations that produce 2% of India's electricity. These are located in Maharashtra, Tarapur, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat. India has uranium from mines in Bihar. There are deposits of thorium in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The nuclear reactors use uranium-235 to produce electricity. When 3000 tons of coal is burned, energy equivalent to 1 kg of uranium-235 is discharged. U-235 is comprised of rods fitted into a nuclear reactor. The control rods absorb neutrons and thus adjust the fission, which releases energy due to the chain reaction in a reactor unit. The heat energy produced in the reaction is used to heat water and produce steam, which drives turbines that produce electricity. The drawback is that the rods need to be changed periodically. This affects environment due to nuclear disposal waste. The reaction releases very hot wastewater that damages aquatic ecosystems even though it is cooled by a water system before it is released. Nuclear which is disposed is becoming an increasingly serious issue. The cost of nuclear power generation must include the high cost of disposal of its waste and the decommissioning of old plants. These have high economic as well as ecological costs that are not considered when developing new nuclear installations. For environmental reasons, Sweden has decided to become a nuclear-free country by 2010. Although the conventional environmental impacts from nuclear power are not considerable, what is problematic is that an accident can be devastating and the effects of which linger. While there is no air or water pollution on routine basis like oil or biomass, a single accident can cause huge loss of humanity, seriously worsening the conditions of many and damaging area for a long period of time by its radioactivity, which results into death, cancer and genetic deformities. Land, water, vegetation gets impaired for a long period. Management, storage and disposal of radioactive waste resulting from nuclear power generation are the biggest expenses of the nuclear power industry. There have been nuclear accidents at Chernobyl in USSR and at the 3 Mile Island in USA. The radioactivity unleashed by such an accident can affect mankind for generations. Let us now begin our discussion about the energy crisis in India. An energy crisis is a great barrier or price rise in the supply of energy resources to an economy. In literature though, it refers to one of the source of energy which is utilized at certain time and place. Specifically, those that supply national electricity serve as fuel for vehicles. There has been a huge rise in the demand at a global level for energy lately because of industrial development and growth of population. Energy supply is therefore far below actual demand. An energy crisis occurs when nation suffers from interruption of energy supplies rising by rising prices of energy that intimidate economic and national security. There is a huge global demand for electrical power and transportation, both dependent upon fossil fuels, such as oil products. Because the population and new technology is always expanding, energy demand is estimated to increase year by year. With 90% of the world's oil reserves already discovered, people are required to explore innovative ways of energy making. This new century's energy crisis requires charge, proper attention and a modification that will keep the country running on more than just fumes. Renewable energy has great capability to already discovered. People are required to explore innovative ways to create energy. This new century's energy crisis needs charge, proper attention and modification that will keep country running on more than just fumes. Renewable energy has great capability to provide solution to spurt energy crisis, and it is crucial determinant to the future of energy, food and economic security. The solar energy technology, a novel technology for the people, provides great amount of energy for lighting, cooking and many other purposes. Different opinions exist in relation to the solar energy's application as lucrative way and renewable energy source. Persons from various backgrounds including technocrats, scientists, economics, etc. perceive solar energy from multiple areas. It is in this background that an attempt has been made to review the literature on the subject of solar energy to understand the varied perspectives on conventional energy scenario, power development and its present position, and to understand renewable energy in general terms and solar energy in particular. Energy crisis has taken the following forms. A. Oil shortage. Reserves of mineral oil in India is only 0.3% of world's known oil reserves. Oil shortage adversely affect the transport sector in the economy. Again, rising oil prices has led to rising general prices in India. B. Coal shortage. Coal reserves are quantitatively and qualitatively poor. Coal shortages adversely affects generation of electricity, therefore restricts the economic development. C. Power shortage. A severe shortage exists in generation and distribution of electric power in India. Power shortage affects industrial as well as agricultural production seriously. Moving on to discuss about the road ahead. Possible solutions which can be placed. First is move towards renewable resources. The best possible solution is to reduce the world's dependence on non-renewable resources and to improve overall conservation efforts. Much of the industrial age was created using fossil fuels, but there is also known technology that uses other types of renewable energies such as steam, solar and wind. The major concern isn't so much that we will run out of gas or oil, but that the use of coal is going to continue to pollute the atmosphere and destroy other natural resources in the process of mining the coal that it has to be replaced as an energy source. This isn't easy as many of the leading industries use coal, not gas or oil, as their primary source of power for manufacturing. Second is buy energy efficient products. Replace traditional bulbs with CFLs and LEDs. They use less watts of electricity and last longer. If millions of people across the globe use LEDs and CFLs for residential, commercial purposes, the demand for energy can go down and an energy crisis can be avoided. Third is lighting controls. There are a number of new technologies out there that make lighting controls that much more interesting, and they help to save a lot of energy and cash in the long run. Preset lighting controls, slide lighting, touch dimmers, integrating lighting controls are few of the lighting controls that can help to conserve energy and reduce overall lighting cost. Fourth is easier grid access. People who use different options to generate power must be given permission to plug into the grid and getting credit for power you feed into it. The hassles of getting credit of supplying surplus power back into the grid should be removed. Apart from that, subsidy on solar panels should be given to encourage more people to explore renewable options. Fifth is energy simulation. Energy simulation software can be used by big corporates and corporations to redesign building unit and reduce running business energy cost. Engineers, architects and designers could use this design to come up with most energy efficient building and reduce carbon footprint. Sixth is perform energy audit. Energy audit is a process that helps you to identify the areas where your home or office is losing energy and what steps you can take to improve energy efficiency. Energy audit, when done by a professional, can save you to reduce your carbon footprint, save energy and money and avoid energy crisis. Seventh is common stand on climate change. Both developed and developing countries should adopt a common stand on climate change. They should focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions through an effective cross-border mechanism. With current population growth and overconsumption of resources, the consequences of global warming and climate change cannot be ruled out. Both developed and developing countries must focus on emission cuts to cut their emission levels to half from current levels by 2050. Let us look into what is being done today. There are many global initiatives that are working towards resolving the energy crisis. This has taken the form of increased regulation and restriction on carbon emissions, the promotion of greener manufacturing and construction projects, the funding of research into hybrid technologies and more sustainable technologies and more. Locally, more communities are seeing beyond the recycle bin and recognizing that how the community uses their local resources is important too. More community gardens, parks and farmers market are springing up not only as a means of introducing more sustainable elements into peoples but as an important part of educating the public about the importance of resources. Now, we will summarize what we have learned in this module. Energy has been universally recognized as one of the most important inputs for economic growth and human development. There is a strong two-way relationship between economic development and energy consumption. There are three main types of energy, those classified as non-renewable, those are said to be renewable, and nuclear energy, which uses such small quantities of raw material uranium that supplies are to an effect limitless. An energy crisis is any great bottleneck or price rise in the supply of energy resources to an economy. Energy crisis has taken the following forms: oil shortage, coal shortage, power shortage. Possible solutions which can be placed: move towards renewable resources by energy efficient products, lighting controls, easier grid access, energy simulation, perform energy audit, common stand on climate change.